Hello friends and fellow VEDSies, and welcome back to VEDS. Earlier this year I made a video where I went to the Nashville Film Festival and reacted to a movie, September Says, and today I would like to do that with another movie that I saw at the Nashville Film Festival, Opryland, USA, A Circle Broken. But we have to do some context first, because I'm guessing that my friends who are not from Nashville don't know what Opryland was. Unless you're really into defunct theme parks, which actually, there is definitely a few people who watch this who are into defunct theme parks. So to y'all, I apologize if I'm going over stuff you already know. Opryland was an amusement park here in Nashville that ran from the 70s to the 90s and was attached to the Grand Ole Opry. The Grand Ole Opry is the biggest show in country music. It started 100 years ago as basically a radio program that was a commercial for a life insurance agency, but quickly ballooned and became something much bigger, being a very firm establishment in the world of country music, and one of the real big reasons that Nashville became a hub for country music. In the 70s, they were planning on building a new Opry House, which is very nice. I went there a couple years ago to see Frankie Valli. But they also wanted to have a theme park attached to it that was themed off of country music. Really music in general, because there were other shows about other genres like gospel and jazz and rock and roll. But it's Opryland. It's Grand Ole Opry. It's mostly country music. It was really successful. A lot of people came. They even opened up a hotel. And then in the 90s, the company got a new CEO, and he decided, no more theme park, Nashville. No more. You get a mall now. They tore up the theme park and put down a mall. And that's what the movie is about. It's about the history of the theme park and why it was torn down for no discernible reason. And it's a good documentary. I think it's very effective at capturing the feel of a place. I was 1 year old when they closed down this amusement park, so I never went. Been to the mall many times. Never went to the amusement park. But while watching the movie, I felt a weird pull to it because I think the film is just very effective at immersing you in what it was like to go there, what it was like to visit and to work there, which is a big part of it. One of the things I think is cool about Opryland was that it was primarily a theme park based around shows. They would have all different types of shows based around different types of music with a lot of performers from all over the country. Kristen Chenoweth got her start there. They even talk about at one point Reba McEntire coming, and whenever she needed a backup singer, she would go to the country music show to see if there was anyone there that she could poach for her tour. And country music legend Roy Acuff loved the park so much that he moved there. He lived in the park. Of course, there were rides and other attractions and a lot of other interesting trivia. That was the first place that Dippin' Dots had a mass consumer base. They interviewed the daughter of the Dippin' Dots founder, who basically grew up running around the park as her parents served Dippin' Dots to people. Wild. And then in the 90s, even though the park was very successful, it was shut down with little explanation and little warning. A lot of people went to the last couple days of the park not knowing that it was going to be the last couple days of the park. And people are very emotional about this. I grew up in Nashville hearing about Opryland and people being like, man, I really miss Opryland. But when I went to the screening at my favorite theater here in town, the Bell Court, I had a very unique experience because I got to sit in the middle of a pack of people who had worked there. They were dancers, they were singers. The guy who sat next to me is actually the stage manager for Alabama, the band, but he got his start doing sound and carpentry at Dollywood. There were ride operators there. There were some like high up people in like the talent scouting and like the choreography and training of the different shows. And of course, a bunch of people who didn't work there but grew up going. And this was at 3 o'clock on a Wednesday. So I was one of the only people in that room who was like under the age of 60. So I think I was definitely in the minority of people who hadn't gotten to experience Opryland. But I do feel like through watching the film, I got to have a piece of Nashville history kind of explained to me And obviously the film preserves that piece of Nashville history, but it was really the experience of hearing those people around me talk about it, getting to see each other after years of not seeing each other, and having deeply emotional reactions to the film, both heavily nostalgic reactions, seeing themselves on screen in footage of the performances and stuff, and a lot of reactions of grief, kind of reliving this very important thing to them taken away without much warning. The guy next to me, who actually met his wife there, his wife was one of the dancers, and he did the sound for that show. He told me a story about how one day he was setting up at his show where he was doing the rock and roll show, and he gets a call from across the park because there's something wrong with the sound at the country music show, and no one is there to fix it. So he runs over there. He like Mission Impossible climbs into the booth because he doesn't have the key to get in, so he has to climb over the other side, and he turns up the dial for Roy Acuff. And Roy Acuff is the first person, these are his words, the first person I mic'd in country music. That's just a really cool and unique story, and I'm really grateful that I got to be there on that day to witness these people's emotional reactions to the movie, and also have kind of this whole supplemental text to the movie as they told me about it. So me and the guy next to me, we talked before the movie started and after, and he gave me a little bit more information about the park after the movie started because I had more context for what I was going to be talking about. But he was talking to me beforehand, and he was asking me what I do, and I was like, yeah, I do this desk job and stuff, but yeah, I went to school to be a filmmaker, and I'm hoping to do a career shift in a little bit to move into another kind of creative space. And he starts talking to me about passion and about how, you know, he was studying in college like hard sciences, and that's what his degree's in. But because he went to Opryland in the summer and he got a job doing sound and then doing carpentry, he was able to explore those passions, and he was able to do those because the people who worked there, who were in charge of all these young people doing the shows, were also really passionate and very passionate about kind of pushing these people to embrace their creative side in a professional context. And he said, whatever you do next, I hope that it's something that you can be passionate about. And that's just like a really sweet thing for a random dude to say to me. So that's my experience with Opryland, USA, A Circle Unbroken. A good documentary, but an even better viewing experience. And one that really highlights what's so special about these like community events, right? Like this was an event about Nashville, in Nashville, for people who love the city. And that's really cool. I had a great time. So friends and fellow VEDSies, whatever you do, I hope you chase your passions. And I will see you tomorrow.